Welcome back. We've got the management of Route Mobile with us, Rajdipkumar Gupta, the MD and CEO. Thanks for joining us, Rajdipkumar. If we could start off with really some of the key factors at play this time around, how did the quarter fare for you?
Hey, good morning. I think the quarter really went well in terms of the last quarter. If you see that we focus completely on the gross margin, and I think the gross margin is key for our business going forward. And in terms of our gross margin from 17.7% to 22%, I think that's what we have recorded last quarter. And in terms of revenue, I think there was a little bit dip, but if you compare the last quarter was the best quarter for us, second best quarter for us since the times of our inception.
Absolutely. Talking about the revenue dip, that's clearly coming from some markets like India, while your overseas markets, the UK, Nigeria, continue to be quite robust. Talk to us about that. What's working when it comes to some of those key overseas markets?
So I think, as I mentioned before also, I think the digital acceleration and digital adoption by enterprise customer is, I think it's getting, adopted very fast because of the pandemic situation. And we do see that kind of growth in terms of requirement coming from various enterprise. And most of the enterprises, they started adopting the digital platform sooner as they want, And if you talk about our revenue dip, I think we have taken some collective call to not to serve certain customer who are actually a high volume, low margin kind of base. I think we just got rid of some of the customer base in Latin America, which is especially in Brazil, and some customer based in India who are not willing to pay us the DLT charges. But I think if you see the overall performance in terms of a quarter wise, I think we've done a best quarter in terms of gross margin.
Okay, let's talk about your overall international revenues as well. On a sequential basis, there has been a dip. When do you see a recovery?
So I think there is not much dip as such. I think we all know there are certain markets like Latin America where the pandemic situation has arrived in last quarter. I think the world is still going through this phase, and I think this quarter we do see a trend where the revenue and the volume is getting back to the normal stage. And I think in this quarter or maybe by next quarter we'll see more growth in terms of our volume and the revenue as well.
And, what makes you confident of reaching a gross margin of about 25%? What are going to be the factors that will aid this overall growth? And walk us through the plans for a change in your overall product mix.
Yes, like as I said before also, I think we as a company focusing more on a new digital channel of communication. As we speak right now, I think we as a company have various channel of communication in our offering, starting from WhatsApp, Viber, RCS, or a recent acquisition of Phone, which adds lots of voice-based solution in our portfolio. I think all this new channel of communication has a very high potential of growth in margin, and keeping that in what we are looking out in next few quarters, we will actually achieve over between 20 to 25% kind of the GP ratio.
Okay, great. What else can we look forward to, in terms of what you're planning strategically, as well as whether it be new markets or launches, acquisitions, anything else that's on the cards?
Yes, definitely. I think we are definitely looking out to grow or expand ourselves in Latin America, US, and Europe. And keeping that in mind, we have recently hired Mr. John Owen as a CEO for this market. And John brings lots of credibility and experience in this market. And based with his experience, we are going to work very closely with him to expand our reach in this market like Europe, Latin America, and US. And where we do see that the gross margin and the revenue mix is much higher and the digital adoption is very high. And in terms of messaging penetration, if you talk about US market, which is a very high margin market, and we are looking forward to expand ourselves in US big way. in coming days.
All right, and in terms of the India revenue as well, when do you see that coming online, and what will you be doing to really try and address some of the challenges? What are some of the key challenges for the Indian market?
So I think in recent last few months, I think there was a DLT implementation by TRI, and I think due to which I think there was a big challenge faced by most of the enterprise customer to adopt the DLT compliance. So I think it definitely for a few weeks there was a little bit dip on a volume side because most of the enterprise, they were adopting the DLT compliances in their platform, and we as a company now see most of 95% of the enterprise, they are ready with this kind of compliance, and we are supporting them. And I think this quarter we will definitely see the growth in. I think most of the volumes are now came back to normal. And I think the volume and the revenue on India side also growing really big based on our order book, or you can say the kind of customer which we are doing the POC or testing. I think the things look very bright for Route Mobile, and we do see a growth of over 20% year-on-year basis in. If I give a guidance, I think year-on-year basis, I think that growth is definitely organic growth, which we do see in this financial year.
And I just wanted to understand as well, given that the future is, of course, digital, especially in times like this where everyone's so connected, what is the message you want to give your shareholders? Because the stock has definitely reaped investors a lot of wealth. What is the outlook that you have in terms of your overall data centers, the billable transactions, number of clients that you plan to service? What's the long-term growth plan and message to your investors and shareholders?
So I think just a simple message to all my investors that we as a company focusing more on a digital channel of communication, and we are now having the complete stack, which means that any enterprise customer, if they're looking out to have a better communication with their end user, they can use my platform, so we can provide any kind of requirement in terms of digital adoption by any enterprise customer. So we have spent almost last 2 to 3 years to build all these APIs within our stack. And some of the APIs which we are not able to build, we just acquired a few companies. And with that acquisition, we got the strength in our product offering. And I think the new product offering will definitely enhance our revenue and the margin. And I think that is the one message I want to give it to all our investors and stakeholders.
All right, we wish you all the very best. Thanks so much for joining in and walking us through your vision as well as the outlook and how things have shaped up financially.